So here's how I divide my journal. I actually divide my journal into two parts. And here, the third thing, and that's the hardest part for most people, and it was for me too. Sometimes it still is, right? But I'm getting better at it. Remember before said no that you will get better at it. I am getting better at it. But so it's I have a morning journal time and an afternoon or evening journal time, right? And I don't do both of them every day, right? Some days I'll wake up late and I'll miss the morning journal time, but I'll do the evening journal time. Very occasionally there will be one off when I miss both, and I'm intentional that doesn't happen 2 days in a row. You can miss one day. Missing one day is a mistake. Missing 2 days is the start of a habit, right? I don't want to start a habit where I'm missing my journal days, right? So in my morning time, and as you can see, I'll show you how I set it up, right? So here's my morning journal time, and then I always finish it with thank you, as you can see on the screen. My morning journal time, thank you, and then the evening journal time, thank you. And then I kind of like, here's one. I didn't have that much time, or I didn't have that much to write, or I didn't have that much time this day. So in the morning journal time, I only wrote that much. But it's at keeping that habit. That's the main secret. You keep that habit. So even if you have time to just write one sentence. This morning I went to get a coffee and study instead of write in a journal. Or I could say I wrote my journal as my notes from Think and Grow Rich. Keeping the habit. And then down here is the PM time. We'll get into that next. So how do I organize it? I have 3 parts in the morning. One is just anything that's on my mind. Just I write for maybe 3, 5, 6 lines, right? Just what's on my mind. Thoughts and feelings, gratitude for something, or an intention for the day. That's actually how I finally did this workshop in one of my journals, because it's something I'd been thinking about. Does anyone have anything that you're thinking about doing? You're thinking about doing? Does anyone have anything that you're thinking about doing and that day never comes? Because it keeps getting pushed back. You know, when I free up some time, guess what? Here's a little secret. You're never going to free up some time. You're never going to free up some time. If you haven't yet, you're not going to. When my days get a little less hectic, they're not going to. Because whatever is filling your cup, whatever is filling your glass, that sand is filling your glass. Unless you dump it out intentionally, it's not gonna free up. You have to be intentional. If you don't make time, you'll never have time. Right? So my intention for the day. And sometimes I'll just write. Right? But that's the first paragraph. And then the next paragraph is just simple. I write these words. And by the way, I got a lot of these, like the number 2 and number 3 things, I got from a great businesswoman and motivational speaker. She's a coach called Mel Robbins, right? Just to give her a shout out and give her credit for this. So number 2 and number 3 is from her kind of style of journaling. It really resonated with me, so I kept it. In one word, I feel. And then I write how I feel: good, bad, hopeful, sad, tired, hungry, stressed, rushed, at peace. At peace is 2 words. I usually make it kind of a challenge if I have something like that, just for myself, to find one way to use one word, you know. And then number 3, this is the tricky thing. 5 things that I want. 5 things that I want, right? So, and I'm going to ask you to do that later. You think, why is that hard? Well, during our whole lives, we're kind of conditioned to not put importance on what we want, right? To not put importance on what we want. Yeah, what you want, we should always think of others. How selfish of you to tell me what you want. How selfish of you to want something and to tell us and to say, I want that, right? How selfish of you. You want coffee? That's so silly. Sometimes I'll write that. 5 things that I want. I want a coffee, and I want to make X and X amount of dollars. I want to have this many followers. I want, whatever. I want to live in this type of house, whatever. It can be little, it can be big, whatever, but don't restrict yourself because, oh, that's silly, or that's selfish, or something like that, right? So you'll see in the workbook a little example that I've given, right? And then I personally finish all of my entries with thank you, going back to gratitude. So that's my morning one. My PM one is my PM journal entry is something that I got from, and I forget her name. It was like a throwaway kind of part of a conversation on mindset hackers. It's my friend Simon Parsons' YouTube channel and his podcast. And he had a woman, she was a coach, and she was a course creator. And she said something that she did here. And when I was in that bad spot, that's when I watched it. And I was like, that's brilliant. So she writes 3 wins that she accomplished that day doing this workshop, right? That's a win. Activity wins. It doesn't have to be, anything grandiose. I watered my plants today. That's a win, right? I did this workshop. That's a win. Because our brains are so prone to think about the negative because of biology and evolution. We're wired because we want to be protected. Our brains wants to protect us. So going back thousands and thousands of years, if we are in the jungle sleeping in a tree, noise rustling in the bushes, like our brains need to think that could be a tiger, that could be a cougar. So we could get ready to run, or we could get ready to climb, or whatever, keeping us safe. So I think negative information, and this is why it's so dangerous to watch the news, is negative information has 7 times the effect of positive information in our minds. What are you telling yourself about yourself? Think about that. I'm such a loser. I'm so stupid. I'm such a bitch. I'm fucking, What are you saying to yourself about yourself? Because whatever you're saying about yourself, you're listening. And then you're living. And then you're not growing, you're staying stuck. So then that overwhelmed feeling comes in, and then you snap at your kids because they are jumping on the sofa. You know what I mean? See how this all kind of ties together. But if we focus on the wins, let's say this workshop, for example, right? This workshop is a win because I set my agenda. I set my intention earlier Monday that I'm going to do this workshop this week. I've been thinking about it enough. I'm going to do this workshop this week. On Thursday, my intention on my daily planner, my intention for that day was here. I'll show you. We're going to get into the agenda later, but let's see. To begin working on the workshop, that was Monday. Tuesday, choose a date and time for the workshop and create an offer. The why is to create an offer. Choose a day and time. That was Tuesday. Today is Thursday. I chose a day because one of the things that was holding me back, but what time? Sunday is a good day, but then I don't have time then, but people are working and this and that. No, like choose a day, start, and I'm going to do these regularly, but choose a date and start and just get it done. Boom, that's now. That's what I'm doing. That's this. That's a win. And yeah, I could focus on the negative. I could think, oh, there aren't as many people as I'd like. Oh, there's not, people said no. People ghosted me. People like didn't respond. Oh, I only had this amount of open rate. Dude, this is a win. The fact that I'm here talking to you, talking to this camera, having this light on, doing this, creating this, preparing this, presenting this, that's a win. Same thing for you. Don't so much attach your wins to the outcome of something, but really on the preparation, on the steps, on the process. Fall in love with the process. And then attach, if you have huge result wins, that's awesome. I've had those too. Right? 3 wins today. Then 3 wins I want tomorrow. You think about tomorrow, you go back with the intention, you've written your daily plan for tomorrow. 3 wins tomorrow. What do I want? What do I want tomorrow? That was hard for me at first too. And then here's a new, and we're always adapting, we're always modifying. This is a new part that I've just added in the past couple of weeks, is a question to ask myself. And I do this before bed. Write a question, because I heard this by Tony Robbins. The quality of our life is determined by the quality of the questions we ask. Woo! Quality of our life is determined by the quality of questions we ask. A common question that I ask is, what is interfering between me and what I want? What is interfering between me and what I want? Procrastination. Allowing things to clutter up my day when they don't have to. And then you can get into the excuses and then identify those are the excuses and cut those off, right? It goes down like that. But so I ask myself a question. So I write down a question. How do I blah, blah, blah? Why is blah, blah, blah? What is blah, blah, blah? Whatever. Ask a question. So that's what I do in my journal. In the morning and in the evening. On my best days.